Welcome to the Wealth Matters podcast, where investors come together to better understand how to build passive cash flow and create generational wealth without all the confusing mumbo-jumbo. Here's your host and co-author of Amazon #1 bestseller, Alpesh Pamar.
Welcome to Wealth Matters Podcast. I have with me Mr. Bryce Robertson, your Australian real estate mate. How are you, Bryce?
I'm very good, thanks, mate. How you doing?
Good, man. Real estate investing entrepreneur, syndicator, educator, best-selling author, world traveler, and adventurer. Bryce, as I mentioned, is an Australian native with over 20 years experience in large commercial construction projects, real estate, and businesses. He has traveled to 60 countries. Oh my God. Over 6 continents, expanding wisdom and prosperity. Through operating businesses in 5 countries, over 3 continents, Bryce realized firsthand the abundant opportunity that exists here in the U.S. of A. And I cannot disagree to that. You know, you and I, we migrated, right? I immigrated from India, and this is land of opportunities. Of course, we are recording this during the election week. So, and we are still waiting to find the result. And I hope that, you know, either way, even if the result goes either way, this is still stays true about USA, that this is a land of opportunity. So welcome again.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I think we covered a lot in your bio, but tell us something interesting about yourself. Well, there was already interesting that you have traveled 60 countries, 6 continents, but something we wouldn't be able to guess.
You wouldn't be able to guess?
Yeah.
Here's something you would never be able to guess. I like surfing. And when I was traveling in Brazil, I came across a nudist beach. And I actually thought, I'm just going to give it a shot. I'm just going to drop my board shorts and have a go at surfing naked. And I did it. And it was a blast. And I had a lot of fun. So that's something that probably nobody knows about me.
That is interesting, man. So why did you choose to be in real estate?
Well, you know, I was in the construction industry for about 17 years, and I knew that I just wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And so my wife and I explored the 3 main ways to make money, and that is, or become very wealthy, and that is owning a business, stock market, and real estate. So in the beginning, we actually explored all 3 of those possibilities. And, you know, we had a little construction business, we were getting into multi-level marketing, learning about the stock market and real estate, and I was spinning plates. I was running from here to there, trying to make it all work. I think I had about 7 different side hustles going on at once because we wanted to explore it all and see what happens.
Man, I'm like you. I think I'm right behind you. I've been trying all of this, as you mentioned. And then I also go after, I have that shiny object syndrome, right? When you're trying to, you know, make money, you're always looking at all kind of side hustles as, you know, possibly you can, right?
Yeah. And so we made a decision. It was like, all right, I have to focus on one thing. And I knew it was real estate, heavy construction background. You know, my wife's actually got a background in mortgage and finance. So we knew real estate was the gig for us, but what were we going to do in real estate? So we looked at all the different profit and losses from different types of investments and different types of asset classes. And mobile home parks really, really stood out to me. So I decided on mobile home parks for a whole bunch of different reasons. You know, they're recession resistant, really strong on cash flow. I wanted something that was a specific niche that wasn't the same thing that everybody else was doing. And I really wanted to solve that problem, which I believe is America's #1 real estate problem. And that's the need for affordable housing.
Affordable housing. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And so, you know, I decided on that, got locked and loaded. And then once I got educated, 3 months later, I had my first mobile home park. And, you know, I was in an interesting circumstance because when I put that first mobile home park under contract, I actually had a negative net worth. I had $2,000 in the bank and I had unseasoned credit because I hadn't been in America long enough.
Right.
And I used the power of syndication to actually put that deal together and get it across the finish line. And once I I knew a deal like that was possible, because that was literally my first real estate deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, the purchase price was about $570,
Okay.
$1,000, and was 40 Space Park in California. Once I got that deal
California.
across
Oh,
in California, once I got that deal across the finish line, I felt like I was 10 feet tall and made a deal. And I was like, if I can do that, I can do anything. And so I continued on that path of syndicating deals and doing larger and bigger, better deals. And it took me about 2.5 years, and I ended up becoming financially free. And my wife and I retired ourselves. And then, we headed off around the world traveling, and the rest is history. So.
that's awesome. So, three things I want to talk about out of those. So, one, yes, I totally agree about mobile home park. And that's the bandwagon I am jumping on as well. So I moved from single family to small to large multifamily. And early last year, I found mobile home park. I studied as much as I can, because I do take action right away. So this time I wanted to take my time. And
Mhm.
my group just closed on our first mobile home park in August. So 3 months
Beautiful.
ago. Yeah, I think
Congratulations,
to this
mate.
day, thank you so much. And I am looking at mobile home parks like crazy right now. I've been
Mhm.
putting offers. So I totally agree. And living in California, I attest to the fact that we do need affordable housing. There is
Oh,
no doubt about
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Second, when was this deal? What year did you do this first mobile home park?
That was in 2015.
Oh, okay. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the third question is, where in California, and would you still buy in California?
So I'm open to the possibility of still buying in California. There's a few challenges I see there. I know that there's the rent control restrictions
Yes.
that have come in recently. I'm not super excited about that. So if my play was to massively increase the rents, which can happen sometimes if we buy
Right.
something that's really undervalued, then that could take me out of the deal, because that control's in place there. There's a few other things that don't excite me greatly about investing in California. But I mean, so this deal that I bought, it was in Ridgecrest, California.
Oh, yeah. I know Richcrest very well. I just sold my 9-unit apartment building there.
Beautiful. Well, there you go.
Man,
You know the
mobile home
market.
parks, I know Richcrest really well.
Yeah. I mean, and it was a fantastic deal. It worked out really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had it for like 4.3 years or something.
Uh-huh.
Our investors, they wanted to make 12% annual returns on that.
Right.
If you divvy out the annual returns.
IRR, or
We
yeah, annualized.
Yeah, we ended up being able to provide, it was either 56.7 or
My God,
57.6%
that's
returns to our
awesome.
investors on that one, because we just knocked it out of the park. We bought it at a 12 cap, we sold it at a really low cap, and we'd increased rents
Yeah.
and filled up occupancies. We really knocked that one out of the park. And the interesting about that one, though, was Ridgecrest. That was where the big earthquake was.
Yes.
It was last year.
Just last
I was
year.
I was out there literally. I went to the park one day, I came back, and then the earthquake happened, and I was out there because I was making sure the park was in good condition to prepare it to be able to list it so we could sell it.
Right.
And then the earthquakes happened, and I'm like, are you kidding me? We just
Right.
had like,
I know. My heart gasped as well. I remember that day.
yeah. Yeah, and fortunately, we had done things right. We had all of our seismic down for the way that we struck down our homes,
Okay.
and everything was good. We didn't have any problems. We had one home that shifted a couple of inches. We had to
Right.
get it moved back over, but the next door neighbors, they didn't go so well though. There was a park next
Oh,
door, and I think they lost about a third of their homes. That actually
wow.
they literally tipped off the foundation because they didn't have
That's
them
it.
tied down
Yeah.
properly.
Wow.
So, but yeah, we ended up selling it, and the whole earthquake thing surprisingly wasn't that big of a deal to the people buying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just thought that would take a lot of people out.
Actually, it happened to us as well. So we listed it last year, the 9-unit apartment building,
Hmm.
and we had someone under contract, and the earthquake thing happens, and the guy backed out.
Mm.
And then, of course, there were a lot of nervousness in the market. So we took it off the market and we listed it again earlier this year. But yeah,
Hmm.
we lost about 30, 40 grand on that deal. Not lost, but we would have profited 30, 40 grand more than what we profited, if we would have closed last year. But that earthquake thing Yeah, you never know. Or maybe we should have kept it in the market at that time.
Yeah,
So was that your first deal?
that was my first deal.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the book, because that's how I was, I'm always looking to read real estate books and want to get inspired. So saw your book, 10,000 Miles to the American Dream, Our Story of Financial Freedom. How did you got that idea to write that book, and why did you write the book?
Yeah, so there's a group of us that wrote that book, and we're called the Real Estate Mates. And it actually started off with one of the authors, Reed Goosens, and
Yes,
he has a podcast, and it's
he's
all about
awesome. Yeah,
yeah, and he's all about teaching people how to invest in the U.S. And then there was a bunch of different Aussies that ended up on his podcast, and we'd all had a similar story of coming from Australia, maybe doing a bit of travel, and then coming to the United States and getting involved in real estate, becoming financially free, and so he just said, hey, how about we all just like jump on a call once a month, and we'll just exchange ideas, maybe do some deals together. And those calls went really, really well. We all hit it off really well. And we said, hey, how about we meet up? So we met up down in San Diego. And when we met up in person, we just all were so passionate about the opportunity that exists in the US to invest in real estate compared to other countries and compared to all the other places that we've been, because the entry level here is just so low. For
right.
example, you want to buy a house in Australia, you have to put 20% down. Whereas over
Yes.
here, I mean, we can go 3% down,
Oh, yeah.
5% down. There's seller financing. There's all these
Yeah, you
different
got VA
options.
loans, FHA loans, you have
Yeah.
hard money, private money, all kind of things. And you can, combine those all together and pay
Yeah.
almost nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, Alpesh, you have, I'm sure, this same experience that you've had an experience of living somewhere else. You come to the United States and you're like, you see the opportunity,
Yes,
knowing that that opportunity doesn't exist in other countries. And,
absolutely.
and so when you or I come here, we've just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to take advantage of this. And so one of the reasons that we wrote the book is because we wanted to wake up a lot of Americans and just say, hey guys, literally in your backyard, you have one of
Yeah,
the world's best opportunities.
right.
Take advantage of it and
Yeah.
change your life and live free. And
Yeah,
that's really
if
what
we
the book's
can
all
do it,
about.
you can do it too, right? That's what I tell
Yeah.
everyone, that if an immigrant with no money in the pocket can
Yeah.
come here and make it, then you should be able to.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Can you expand upon some of the strategies you use to fund and find real estate deals, or find and fund real estate deals? How do you find, niche real estate deals, and then how do you end up funding them?
Sure. So, finding deals, I started off just, hitting the ground. I'd looking online, mailers, cold calling, driving through mobile home parks, just basically any way I could think of actually finding a mobile home park. And then interestingly, as time has progressed, I became financially free. And then I thought, hey, I really want to share this with people. So now, I teach people how to invest in mobile home parks. I've got a home study course, which I usually teach live, but I'm obviously not teaching it live right
Not
now.
anymore.
It's the A to Z of MHP's financial freedom through mobile home park investing. But yeah, I started teaching. And then once I started teaching people how to invest in mobile home parks, naturally people said, hey, I want to help find mobile home parks for you. So now instead of me going out there and looking for deals, most of my leads come from students or
Oh, okay.
people that want to sort of bring deals my way. So that's kind of the lead generation side of things. And then as far as putting deals together, mobile home parks is a really interesting space. We are typically buying off mums and pops who have been, they've been in the park for maybe 20, 30
30
years.
years,
They're
yes.
not business professionals.
They don't have any records.
No, they don't have any records. And there's an opportunity there because they haven't been running it like a smooth oiled machine. And we come in and do that. But
Exactly.
also in there, they have a lot of these mums and pops have a different set of circumstances and a lot more negotiable terms that we can throw in there.
Yes.
For example, seller financing. It's so common to just say to a mom and pop seller that, hey, you're about to make, X amount in profits from this sale here. I mean, what are you guys going to do with that? I mean, are you cool with paying the massive capital gains taxes that you're going to have to pay on that? Or would you be interested in maybe carrying some financing on this or doing some kind of installment sale? So that's a way for us to like structure a deal where instead of them actually paying one big chunk, getting paid in one big chunk and paying 35% taxes or whatever, they can get paid in smaller chunks over time, and then they don't have to pay as much taxes. And then we get to structure the deal differently, and it works out advantageous for us too. So it's like a win-win situation. So that's one way that we kind of structure deals. But we also like to bring in investors in our deals. And so we use the power of syndication. And, basically we open up a large portion of our investments to what we call limited partners or LPs, and they invest in one side of the deal. They don't have to worry about any of the heavy lifting or any of the hard work. They're trusting and they have faith in us that we know what we're doing and we're the operators. And then, we have a small chunk in the deal for ourselves for sort of putting it together and managing it and driving through the business plan.
That's awesome. So yes, this is how I fund my deals as well. So yes, I understand how it works, because we did the first park I just acquired, same thing, seller financing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though the seller had records, I'm like, you have a lot of park owned homes, I can't get financing for a park
Mm-hmm.
which is only $500,000, right? So the seller financing worked out. But I was looking at another offering memorandum, and then I spoke with the seller, and he's like, I just get cash. I don't have any records whatsoever. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand how mobile home park deals work. About finding the deal, you said some comes from the student. So do you only focus on off market, or do you also work with some brokers to go through the deals, etc.?
Yeah, we prefer off-market deals. There's just a lot more room to
Right.
negotiate. And usually on the off-market deals, it's just us directly working with the sellers. There's
Yeah.
nobody else involved. There's no other, not like multiple offer scenarios, whatnot. That's not necessarily the case when we work with a broker. Sometimes there'll be one or two other people that are also looking at the
Right.
park and putting in offers. We prefer much better to work with off-market listings, but at the same time, there's still some good deals out there with brokers. So we look at everything, and if it's a good deal, it's a good deal. We're open to deals nationwide. I like to buy parks that are around about the 200 space sort
Okay.
of area. That way, it literally doesn't matter if it's on the other side of the country. It's large enough to be able to squeeze in a few plane flights out there. Have someone from our team go out there and check up on things a few times throughout the year. And what I've found, through my experience of managing from afar, is that there's no problem that shows up that actually can't be resolved while you're not there. I mean, I've had things like gas systems completely fail in the middle of winter, and people are out of hot water and ways to heat their food and have showers. I've had a whole laundry list of all the things that could go wrong, and never once have I ever had to be in a position where I have to immediately like fly out and solve a problem.
I
I
see.
mean, we've got third-party verifications where everybody's got a video camera in their pocket, and then also, when you think about it, if you have a 200 space park, on average, you're going to have about 500 people that live there.
Right.
When 500 people are living somewhere, you find out about every single thing that's going on there. Like
Yes.
nothing slips through the cracks because people always talk. So,
Yes. That's
yeah.
true. So some of the great points. Which markets do you focus on right now, or it's all
Mm.
over the US? Do you have certain preferred markets?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do have preferred markets. And again, if the deal makes sense, I'm open to wherever it is nationwide. And that's usually the way that we look at deals with mobile home park space. I'll quickly look at the market. Does the market meet my criteria? Yes, there's enough people. There's a big enough infrastructure there. There's a need for affordable housing. So yes, that's a good market. And then I'll look at the park and say, all right, does it have the criteria that I'm looking for? And then it could potentially be a deal. I do actually prefer the Midwest is a really good place for mobile home parks. I still believe that that's the place where we can find some of the best deals at some of the best cap rates. There's still a lot of
Yes.
room for improvement. There's one caveat that comes with owning parks in the Midwest, and that's we have to deal with the cold weather.
Weather.
So
Yes.
we have to be able to winterize our homes and prepare ourselves for, underground water leaks in frozen ground and things like that can happen. But once you get through that, it's totally fine. And so we really like the Midwest. We also like the Southeast as well. The Southeast is a good region, good weather.
That's where I'm focused on.
Yeah.
Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi to North Carolina and Florida.
Sure.
So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and there's certain little things with each area. Like the Midwest is generally pretty okay. Another concern that I have with California is earthquakes, and so we know about that.
Yes.
But then there's some other areas that have tornadoes and hurricanes, and so try and stay away from some of the coastal places in the Southeast. But apart from that, the Southeast is pretty solid. And then also an area that we call the Sun Belt, which is kind of Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas and all of that through there is a pretty good area too.
Sun Belt is great.
Yeah, but I mean, really, look, if a good deal comes up in California, if a good deal comes up in New York or Rhode Island or whatever, like we're down. So.
Got it. And how do you manage these parks? Do you work with third-party management company, or do you hire people to manage the parks?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with mobile home parks, we do our own in-house management. We do that by our own affiliate company, that property management company that we have. And the reason we do that is, one, when we manage our properties, no one is going to do as good a job as we're going to do. We are definitely going to see through our business plan. And if any challenges pop up, we are going to do anything we need to do to get over those challenges. And plus, we've already mitigated those challenges with proper due diligence up front. So really, there's no surprises that show up. There's really just, okay, that was one of the things we calculated for. Let's go. We've already got a plan for that. Let's deal with it. The other thing is that if you have an apartment, and say there's 200 apartments and it's an apartment complex, they have third-party managers because, I mean, apartments are probably renting for, say, $1,000 a month. That's $200,000 a month. And then if you have a certain percentage, say they're making, 3, 4, 5, 6%, right? Then off $200,000, that's not too bad, right?
Right.
But with mobile home parks, we're in the affordable housing space. And our average lot rents are around about 300, and they're pushing up to about 320. So there's really not that much money to be made for a mobile home park management company. And so then we're going to think about, if we're going to pay that small amount, are we really going to get the type of company that's going to give it the care and attention that it needs? And so unless we have like a 300 space park or above, then we wouldn't even really consider it. Once you have a park that's big, then you can think about having a third-party property management company. But we keep it all in-house, and everything runs very smooth that way. And again, no one's going to give it as much care and attention as we do. So as soon as a challenge pops up, bang, we overcome it.
I so agree about that. And I have my own property manager right now, but I also am using a third-party asset manager to manage the asset because it's my first park. But at what point did you decide that, okay, we need to have a property management company, or did you have the property management company in mind as soon as you acquired your first park?
Yeah, absolutely. I was ready to roll. I knew that was something that I was going to implement straight away. I already had my documentation and systems and everything in place. I was ready to go. So yeah.
No, that's awesome.
And I have parks where I probably could have third-party management, but we just prefer to keep it all in-house.
Oh yeah, once you have vertically integrated businesses, why not, right? Why would you even go with the third party?
Yeah, and we do the same thing with the construction side too. It's like sometimes we sub that out to third-party vendors, and sometimes we do that in-house with our own crews.
Got it. Hey, can you talk about your best deals so far?
I have to go back to the first deal. And the reason the first deal was the best deal was because, I mean, let's resonate on those circumstances again. I had a negative net worth. Right. I had $2,000 in the bank, unseasoned credits, and I put together a $570,000 deal. And, fast forward, it ended up being very profitable for everybody involved. And, I learned so much about that deal. I learned so much in the process of putting it together. and syndicating the deal, and the management and all the challenges that popped up. So that, and you can probably agree that some of your first deals are some of the strongest, most powerful deals that we've ever done. So really great learning lesson. I learned a ton and really, really enjoyed that deal.
That's awesome. What was your worst deal so far, and what did you learn from it?
I honestly don't think that we can do a deal that we would call a bad deal, because I believe every experience we have is something that's meant to happen.
Right.
I think that the deals that have been the worst deals, I have been fortunate enough to not go through with those deals, but I've learned a lot on them. And most of those deals came down to me potentially partnering with people and then deciding close before we ended up actually taking on the deal that, this partnership, I don't believe that it's going to be what it needs to be. And then, not going through with the deal. So I think that the worst deals I've done have been the ones that I chose not to do. But again, I still don't think that I've done any bad deals, or even those experiences that happened. I don't believe they were bad experiences. I learned a lot from them. And, it helps me become a better investor, a better operator, a better partner moving forward.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Bryce. Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
You're listening to the Wealth Matters Podcast.
The Wealth Matters Podcast.
For more info about what we do, check us out at wealthmatters.com. It's wealth, WEALTH, matters, MATRS.com.
Welcome back to Wealth Matters Podcast. Bryce, are you ready for fire round?
Let's go. I'm fired up.
Let's go. Would you be changing any business or investment strategy after coronavirus?
No, and because of that, really, we came into all of this with recession-resistant type investments, and so that's been the game since day one. So nothing really has changed. Maybe we're changing our aspect on a little bit on financing. We're really looking for seller financing deals right now, which a few of those are panning out quite well. A little bit apprehensive moving forward with some things in the real estate sector, because there's some unknowns, like what's going to happen with property taxes, and who's going to be increasing those first, and how much they're going to increase them, what's happening with capital gains taxes. And so there's different things like that that we're taking into consideration, but still, we underwrite very conservatively with tons of wiggle room in the deal. So holistically, not really changing things too much, just fine tuning with all of the things as they unfold. And they will. For the next couple of years, we're expecting tons more of these challenges and tons more new things to deal with. And we're just going to navigate our way through it as it unfolds.
That's awesome. Favorite real estate or finance or any other related book? Don't give names of my book or your book.
Honestly, I go back to this one. It's T. Harv Ekers' Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
Yes, that's a great book.
Yeah, that book literally changed my life. I reprogrammed my financial mindset. Then I ended up moving on, and I worked with T. Harv Eker for about 2 years. And then blessed to actually have T. Harv Eker endorse our book, once we came full circle.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So super stoked on that one, but that's an amazing book. It literally changed our lives. And, so many people I come across that read that book, that was one of the catalysts that really shifted them towards freedom in their life.
Oh, that's a great book. Thank you for the recommendation. Any tool or website you recommend? Maybe it's for mobile home park, maybe it's building the network or anything else.
Yeah, a website that I use all the time is bestplaces.net.
Oh, yes.
I just really find that a great, well-organized resource to quickly find out statistics in a market. And I use that every single time I'm evaluating a mobile home park. I'll quickly go to bestplaces.net. And within about 30 seconds, I know if that market is going to be good for a mobile home park or not.
I use it every day, so I know what you are talking about. When I was doing apartment investment, it was city-data.com. And then for mobile home park, I realized everyone is using bestplaces.net, and it's It has pretty much similar information as City Data. I think City Data is more information, but bestplaces.net has the information laid out so well that
Yeah.
anyone can just go in and figure out everything.
Yeah, it's better organized, and it literally has like all the information we need
Yes.
on that first little section there. And the other thing is that lenders, when we're getting financing from mobile home park, that's what they use. That's what
Oh,
they get
really?
their
Oh,
statistics
okay.
from. So if we're looking at bestplaces.net and this city is not in the major metro that we thought it was in, then the lender's going to look at that, and they're going to have the same opinion. So
Right.
if it actually says it on bestplaces.net and it says, hey, this little town that's actually 3 hours away from this big city is in that metropolitan area, then you can piggyback that, and it works out well. So.
Right. And that's a great point you mentioned, because I just said no to a couple of deals where the OM said, oh, it's part of this MSA. I go to bestplaces.net and it's not part of the Biloxi Gulfport MSA. It's like 70 miles away. And I said, no, this doesn't make sense. So great point. Any advice for beginner investors?
I think there's no better time to start investing than now. If you haven't started investing, get involved in something, even if it's something small, even if it's something as simple as going out there and buying, a 1 ounce silver coin that you can buy for about $25 right now, and just start now, start investing, start getting educated. You don't have to know everything up front. Tap into podcasts like this. There's tons of information out there. There's tons of education out there. Find somebody that's doing something that you want to get involved in, and then ride their tailcoat. You don't have to have all the answers. If you've got an expert in, say, mobile home park investing, go see that guy, and you want to just ride his tailcoat, and then he can look over your deals, or she can look over your deals, and they can find the things that are the red flags to watch out for in your deal. You don't have to have all the answers, but the longer you wait, the less that you are going to be able to increase your freedom and change these things radically in your life. So, going out there and taking action is definitely the most important thing.
Got it. How do you give back?
How do I give back? Well, we give back by writing the book, 10,000 Miles to the American Dream. That was one way of giving back. Another way I give back is by teaching people how to invest in mobile home parks. I do this through the A to Z of MHPs, everything you need to know about mobile home park investing. I also have a video podcast called Freedom Hack Radio, where we explore the freedom trinity of financial time and location freedom. And we learn how to live in fulfillment by growing and expanding and maintaining balance in financial wealth, health, relationships, spirituality, and having fun. And, once I lived a true life of financial time and location freedom, my life radically changed so much. I just had to share this with the rest of the world. And I know that there's so many other people that have a desire to live that kind of life, but they either don't know it's possible or they don't know how to get there. And so, the way I give back is by educating people and lifting people up. And, I do that when I'm out, even if I'm out at the pub and someone starts talking about wanting to make improvements in their life, I'll just see how I can help people and help lift people up so that we can all live free. Because I do not believe that we were born to wake up early in the morning, go to the grind, slave away at a job so that we can come home, pay our mortgage, pay for a bit of food, have a little bit of money left over, and then boom, just do that for like 40, 50 years. That is not the way we're meant to live. I truly believe everybody deserves to live free. We all downright bloody deserve it. And I'm committed to helping people have that experience.
That's awesome. How can my listeners reach out to you?
One of the best ways to reach out would be Bryce at realestatemates.com. You can also email me at bryce@propertyworksusa.com. Works actually ends with a Z or a Z, depending on how you pronounce it over the world. And just shoot me an email. That's the best way to keep in touch.
And I'll put those in the show notes. Thank you so much, Bryce. I enjoyed our conversation, man.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Matters podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes so others can enjoy the show too. Have a great week and happy investing!